what is existence? What is the meaning of anything? Am I even real? It's weird. It's weird as fuck, but it's also really cool. Hi everybody, welcome to my time-themed reading vlog for Nonfiction November. So this month, as I'm sure you all know by now, it's Nonfiction November. We are nearly done. We're on the last week. Today is the Tuesday, the last Tuesday of November. And we're getting really quickly towards Christmas. I'm hoping to get a tree up actually during this vlog, so you might get to see that experience. But in this vlog, I will be reading a series of books. Shocker, on a booktube channel. I know, it's unexpected. I like to do wild and crazy things on this channel. But these books are all nonfiction, obviously, but they're themed about the nature of time. Time is something I have a fascination with as it stands. I mean, outside of just this one readathon, which has one of its themes being time, because I love time travel, but I also love the idea of time when it comes to the nature of space-time. And that's the motivation behind this wonderful vlog. And I have books here that will hopefully help me better appreciate the nature of time and space. So let's just get going on what I'm reading here. The first book that I've talked a lot about leading up to this month is The End of Time by Julian Barber. In fact, I've actually already started this because this is not an audio. I'm reading 4 books, by the way, and 2 of them are not an audio, so I knew I needed to start it to make sure I had time to push through it. I am trying to annotate it and shit. This is new to me, so I feel like I'm overdoing it, but I have not read as much as I wanted to, but I'll say more on that in a second. The next one's going to be The Fabric of the Cosmos by Brian Greene. This is about the nature of space-time itself, not just time. And then, of course, A Brief History of Time, which has the word time in it, but also has just a discussion of, I think, the nature of time as well, as it fits into the bigger scope of the universe. This is fairly short. I think it'll be pretty easy to get through, hopefully like in a day's worth of audiobook. This one's a bit longer. It's a bit of a chunker, and so I expect this to take probably a few days. So with that in mind, like 4 days of audiobooking here, if I can work in time to read this between now and next Tuesday, it'll be great. Because I also need to read one more book though after I finish this, and that is Julian Barber's newest book called The End of Time, which comes out in December, I think December 3rd. And this book is not necessarily directly connected to this, but it is definitely tangential, because this is about breaking our idea of what time is. And this book, The End of Time, is supposed to be about, I guess, just expanding this idea of what is time. The Janus point is about, or is actually this point where apparently it's the origin of the universe, where if you see the origin of time, the supposed origin of time, there's in fact another section of time that goes in the opposite direction. The hypothetical idea being a thing that we have like basically 2 mirrors of the same universe. One where the direction of time is in this direction, and one where the direction of time is in the opposite direction. So when we talk about direction of time, what does that mean? It just means that like the evolution of matter and the direction of what we perceive as to the future is in the opposite direction. And theoretically, I think it should be like a direct mirror. Like everything that's happening here is happening in the opposite direction, and just the perception of what is direction of time is opposite. We'll talk about more of that if and when I get to that book, because it's still up in the air whether I'll have time to finish all of these. And on that note, let's talk about where I'm at with this book, because this is the first book that I started, because I was really excited to get to this, because I love the idea of time, and particularly the block eternal view of time, or the universe rather, which is this idea that basically the now, the future, and the past, they all exist in the scope of the universe. Like, just because we're on this point of time doesn't mean the other points of the axis don't still exist. But this book is complicating the conversation. It wants to say something more like, it's more than just an axis of time that exists in the universe. It's like this entire field, like a planar space of time. Honestly, it's weird. It's weird, and I don't understand the point, and I don't think he's being very good at getting at it. That said, I'm not giving up on this yet. I'm trying to slow read it, or have been, and that's just not going to work. I've got through like 30 pages trying to do that, so I'm going to do a mix of slow reading with a bit of my e-reader, sort of reading it to me to help me push through, because I do want to understand this concept. But as it stands right now, this book is not pleasing me very much. The way in which he presents the topic, the basic idea he's trying to present, is so convoluted. If you want to explain science, I understand this concept, it's complex, and if you want to explain it with some depth, you have to get a little complicated. But the way you should be able to explain any basic type of science in levels of complexity. And you should always start with the simplest level and then build on that. And here it feels like he's starting with something complex, or worse, instead of giving us even the complex explanation, he gives us an analogy of the complex situation without any fucking context on how it fits into the point he's trying to make. And it is infuriating trying to predict what it is he's trying to say here, and because he doesn't want to tell us his point before he tries to explain the point. It's like he's so against time. He does not like the idea of cause and effect in storytelling. But on the bright side, at least I have these other 2 books that I can enjoy along the way. And hopefully I can still get through his newest book, or at least try to, because I did get an arc for that and I'd like to review it. If I don't read it now, I probably never will. But I've also already pre-ordered it, so I have to read it. That's where I'm at with this. I was going to insert like clips of me reading The End of Time, beginning of the month, but I don't think it's worth it. Like I've already sort of presented it to you. I'm going to get going because I do need to keep grading, which is what I've been doing. But while I grade, I am going to go ahead and start listening to The Fabric of the Cosmos. I will say that there is a PBS Nova series of like 3 or 4 episodes about this book, and I have watched it like 2 or 3 times, and I absolutely adore it. That's part of the reasons why I've waited so long to read this, was because I thought I didn't need to, but now I'm at the point where I like to relearn things I've already learned, especially at newer depths. And of course that's more successful in certain areas than other areas. Okay, we're on to Tuesday. No, wait, today's Wednesday. And I've started Brian Greene's Fabric of Reality. This is really good. I guess I should say I had tofu for breakfast. I know, that's weird. I was making it for lunch and then I ate it. So now it's breakfast. I don't care. It was delicious. So this is being everything that I wanted this to be. Fabric of Reality is really just discussing about the basic nature of space-time, and I am really liking it. Not only is it being explained in a way that is just really easily to consume, I guess very engaging, much more engaging than Julian Barber has been. And this background material that's being explained is way more straightforward than what Julian Barber does. And even though I've seen the documentary of this twice and exposed myself to various other material on the topic, I still feel like I'm learning stuff that I haven't learned yet. Like, there was one way in which he described the nature of space-time that was new to me, that really helped me, I think, really appreciate how it works. The example was that, as you go faster, as you approach the speed of light, your time slows down. So think of it as like, once you go to the speed of light, time just stops. And the way he described it was that in terms of the fact that time is its own coordinate, just think of it like when you look at a map, north, east, south, west. If you're driving north at 10 miles an hour, and then you turn northeast, continuing 10 miles an hour, your north component of your velocity will decrease because you now put some of that 10 miles per hour into your east component. So while you might be going the same speed, the northern component is different. It's essentially just showing how, all things being equal, you can move through space without taking away some of your movement through time. I really appreciated that one example of how the book's already reframing, like in the first few chapters, how I'm seeing this topic, and I'm absolutely adoring it. I hope that by the time I finish this, it'll help me appreciate Julian Barber's book more. If not, who cares? I can already imagine this book's probably going to be my favorite book of this entire vlog, and it may just end up being a favorite of the year. This book is just, I can't believe I haven't read it before now, honestly. It's just so fundamental to the type of science that I like, and I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Now, I have a meeting with my advisor today. I'm not ready for it because I'm a failure, but I probably should continue preparing. I'll catch you later. Okay, so I'm still reading this. Not much has happened here. I'm so busy with school, it's not much to actually vlog, but the reason I'm stopping is just because we finally get to the central topic that I have so often sold to my viewers, to all of you, when I'm talking about time, which is this idea that time does not appear to be just the now. It is, space-time itself is all points in time. It isn't just the now. And he talks about why that is, and I think he explains it in a way that really sells it more than I think I already thought was likely based off of the way the world works. And I guess it's a fact of how special relativity works. And I remember when I watched the documentary, which I'll try and put a clip here, he talks about space-time as sort of like a loaf of bread that can be cut into different sections. Like if this book was my life, the story of my life, and you flip through it, each page is a different point of my life, a different day perhaps. A loaf of bread is the same sort of idea. Instead of having split pages, that loaf of bread can be cut into any orientation you want. And the orientation where each cut is basically a different time period. If this is one now, if this is one day for me and for you, the way in which we move around the universe will cut that loaf differently. It will not have equally spaced pages like we have here, meaning that the past, the future, and the now, it all fluctuates. Like what we perceive as to be one fixed point of the now is so dependent on the viewer. These are things that we can measure. I'm not explaining this very well, but if you don't know, like satellites, they have to be adjusted for relativity because they're further away from the Earth. So the gravity is lower, so the relativistic effects are different. So the time it experiences, that the satellites experience, is slightly different. So they have to adjust that to make sure that the clocks are in sync with what we have on Earth. And the idea, though, is that it isn't just a matter of how fast you're going. You could be going like 10 miles an hour, and the way in which it cuts through space-time at far distances can be really extreme. But needless to say, I still love the idea, and I like it because he's explaining it in a way that makes more sense to me, even if I'm not conveying it very well. It's still exciting, still a lot of fun. Really, again, let me reiterate this. This is the book that I wanted all along, not that other stupid book. I'll catch you later. Hello, I know I haven't updated you yet. It's 6 p.m. I have been so busy. I am so stressed. My head is killing me. I did get to talk to my family on a phone call earlier, but I'm hoping this weekend will be more fun as I begin to decorate and get through more of the books. This has been just a really busy Thanksgiving week. Thank goodness I'm not going anywhere. I am over halfway through Brian Greene's book. I'm still thoroughly enjoying it. Right now we just get to the area talking about the Higgs boson, and I couldn't help but smile because this is back in like 2003 or 4, before we had the evidence that the Higgs boson was real. And I know we've since, like 5 years ago or so, proven that this was a real thing, a thing that they had suspected. And it's just really exciting to be able to think about how this was the understanding of the universe and how it's begun to be confirmed already. And it's just really exciting stuff. This book really is just so broad. Like the basic idea that I loved about time and space really is the foundation. It's just setting up the conversation going on here. There's so much going on. I can already see myself rereading this book. It's really good. It's really good. And that's the gist of my update. So I will catch you later. So I wanted to capture this moment because this happens fairly frequently when I think heavily about things like the nature of the universe. Right now I'm cooking it. I must say, I am thoroughly enjoying the book still. This book has to be probably the most comprehensive book I have ever read when it comes to cosmology of the universe. I have to recommend it as the best book if you want to understand the nature of reality so far. And it's so well explained. This book is perfect in every way possible. Right now he's talking about the origin of the universe and how the Higgs field, the Higgs boson, whatever, the way in the mechanics works, the prediction is that you would expect for certain conditions, if certain conditions were met, for there to be a Big Bang. Now, basically the idea is the universe is here, and before the Big Bang, there were some situations that happened that introduced the proper conditions to ignite the universe as we know it. And the idea being that it wasn't the origin of the universe, it was just the origin of what we see now. It was like this one event that took place within the universe. The real thing that's happening right now is I sometimes, when I'm thinking about this stuff, I naturally get kind of overwhelmed. Because when you really think about it, if you're like me and you don't believe in a God, which I see no viable reason to do that, sorry, I'm checking on the food, then you have to ask yourself, so what is it? I'm sorry. Okay, you have to ask yourself then, what does it mean to exist? Do we even exist? Because really think about it. What is the universe? Like, it's easy for us to think of our Earth, think of home. It exists. My home exists within a city. The city exists within a country within a continent within a world. This world within a solar system, the solar system within a galaxy. It doesn't answer this question of why, like where, how, like if the universe has always been, what does that even mean? What does it mean for the universe to have just been? Like, where is it? It's really quite of a conundrum, because when you think about it, it's like, I can picture how the universe could have evolved, even how the universe may have existed prior to the Big Bang in a certain different configuration. But then the concept of existence only makes sense within our universe. So what does that even mean? If there's multiple, it's really quite a conundrum. Like, the fact that anything exists at all is really quite a wonder. And it's really one of the biggest motivators behind wanting to understand this, because it's just so fucking confusing. And we're never going to know the answer. We're never going to know the answer unless maybe there is a God and we die and we meet that God. But I don't think that's very likely. There's no evidence to suggest that. It's a conundrum, and I won't pretend like I don't have certain times where I have to just stop and I start not necessarily panicking, but it's like, what is existence? What is the meaning of anything? Am I even real? What does it mean to be real? Because it's so easy to get lost in our immediate lives and think of it as significant, when I'm sure it's significant to us, but in the big picture, it's nothing. It's weird. It's weird as fuck, but it's also really cool. So I just wanted to just share that while I continue cooking. Okay, I'm not done apparently. It's just, even when you think about it, like, if I think to myself, there should be nothing, the concept of nothing doesn't even mean anything without the universe. The concept of nothing only exists because there's a universe. And it's just so mind-boggling to think about what it even means for there to be nothing, for there to be something. It's so fucking mind-boggling. It really is. Like, I don't think people talk enough about what it really means. Like, how much of a mindfuck cosmology is. Still Thursday night, finished cooking and logging the shit, but we just had a really interesting conversation in the book, which is about how did the universe as we know it come into being. The solution need not assume that space itself came into existence with the Big Bang. The Big Bang was merely an event that may have happened within the span of space-time. And the question then becomes, how did this happen? And it seems to be that a minor fluctuation, like quantum mechanics, where things can fluctuate. You can have tiny fluctuations happening. All you need is like a slight jittering that gets to just the right condition that will then trigger inflation. Because apparently inflation, they have it actually pretty well figured out on how or what conditions are needed to trigger this. And while it may be unlikely, it is very much like playing slots or playing the lottery. If you play it enough times, you're eventually going to win. Now, one conversation he had, which I thought was really interesting, was that, logistically speaking, I mean, if we're going to assume that the universe could just come into existence from like a the spontaneous jittering of atoms or whatever. Logistically speaking, it seems to make sense that the universe literally just came into existence at this moment and not before. Because if we think about it, the future is higher entropy. Higher entropy means more disorder. If you go back in the past, we have more order, lower entropy. And that's more complex. The universe was more complex in the past. Why is it more likely that this more complex situation would come into existence instead of just the now, when the now is by definition less complicated than then? But I don't think that is what's happening. And a good point he made was that if we make that assumption, then we have to assume that the very laws in which we are making these conclusions are also based off of data that just came into existence. So that's not a reasonable conclusion to come to. And he also made a point to note that, realistically speaking, while things may be more complicated in the past than it is now, what really matters is that the event that was required to trigger inflation was in a much more simpler system, and that the event that actually needed to trigger it was much more small scale, meaning the cascading effects that would lead to the now, which is fairly complex, was fairly small, meaning even though everything leading up to now was fairly complicated, there was a point where the complication was fairly low. Like, it's that point where some type of fluctuation was just right, where things were in just the right state to trigger inflation and trigger the cascading events that is the universe as we know it. That doesn't mean that the universe itself all came into existence at the Big Bang. It just means that the current situation of matter, energy, the laws of physics began to resemble as we see them now. The idea being, before the Big Bang, the conditions were different, but space-time itself was still there. This does not solve the problem of where the fuck did space-time come from. And everything I just said before, even though I'm over that momentary existential crisis, like that, is still reasonable. Like, what does it mean to be existing? Why is there a universe? I don't know. But it does make more sense for the universe to sort of be, rather than just come into being, whatever that would even mean. But obviously there's still big questions that we probably will never know the answer to. But it's still really interesting to get ever closer to this. And I just think it's so mind-boggling. It's just so much fun. So much fun. Because, I mean, really, the universe is, indefinite. And then even the now that we're talking about is probably just one of many, because this sort of situation, while rare, should still be happening, multiple times. And I don't know how that fits into like the big conversation of the multiverse or anything, but it's still really fun. This book, Chef's Kiss, really, so much love for it. I don't care if I don't read any other book. This book made this vlog, it made this month. Oh, yes, praise be to Brian Greene, yeah, the OG, as opposed to Sean Carroll, who I have grown to really love, but he can't beat Brian Greene. And now I want to reread the books that I have read by Brian Greene, which is to say The Hidden Reality, which was a real mindfuck, because that really just introduces the idea of the multiverses and what does it mean to exist. But you know what? We don't need a multiverse to question our existence. I mean, obviously our existence is already pretty fucked as it is in our universe without the extra ones. So I don't know why this brings me so much joy, but it does. I just love learning about the nature of reality. Okay, I'm gonna finish this. I didn't get a lot of listening to today. I didn't start listening till like 9 o'clock, so I've actually made pretty good progress cooking my vegan cheese, which is fucking delicious. Okay, for real though. Catch you later. Good morning, afternoon actually, but it's Friday. Gonna get down on Friday. I have a mini haul to show you. I've got two 25-foot, what do you call these? Extension cords for lights, because I'm buying new lights, and they're not in the mail yet, but I did get these two things. Why did I get these, you ask? Well, this one's for the reef on my door, and this one is for something else that I do not remember what it was for. I figured, why not? I have so much work to do. Well, honestly, it's Friday, so I'm gonna try and get some work done, and then let myself relax, but I'm gonna have to work Saturday and Sunday. Oh God, I don't know, my head hurts so much. I think it's because I'm so stressed. But on the right side, I have at least the book that I've been enjoying. Not much more to say after last night. It seems like the last part of the book is gonna be focusing on the big picture, like the meaning of, not necessarily the meaning of life, but like how did the universe come into being? What does it mean to to exist. And I'm not sure how deeply he's going to dive in that, because I did look. He has a new book. Like, I knew it was a new book, but I didn't know what it was really about. It's called The End of Time, or To the End of Time, or something. And I think it really talks about the philosophical implications largely of this book, or at least partly of what's in this book, and what it means for us. Like, what is our place in the cosmos? These are all questions that I kind of really want to dive into, but I'm not going to. Probably. We'll see what happens. And we'll catch you later then. What is that? I'm grading and watching a movie. Let's see how much I can actually get done. I'm watching Paranormal Activity: The Ghost Dimension. I heard it was the worst movie there was, but apparently I'm on a Paranormal Activity kick, so. Okay, we are on to Saturday now, and I finally finished The Fabric of the Cosmos. This was really long, but dear God, was it amazing. It really was. I think I said it already, but it bears repeating. This is probably the most comprehensive and most accessible cosmological book that I have read. I guess full stop, as the kids say these days. Somewhat subjective to my experience, to my background, but I found this to be fantastic. I mean, it reviewed concepts that I had already been familiar with, like tangentially, and it really helped me understand it in a really good way. Like, he has a really good way. Brian Greene has this way of basically creating really down-to-earth analogies. And I saw one review that was actually complaining that he had too many analogies, and I'm like, are you kidding? That's the perfect way of explaining this stuff. And it was everything I could have wanted from this kind of book. It was the perfect book for this vlog. And so even if I don't finish all these books, which I'm not sure, we'll see what happens, it was a success. This was a delight. 5 stars, obviously. I would highly recommend this if you're interested in learning about the cosmos. This book really, I think, conveys my thoughts or beliefs. Like, sure, I believe this, but it explains why I believe it. It sets up why I think it makes sense that the universe is this sort of stagnant isn't the right word, but you know, the time, life, our life at least, is like all moments already there. But it's all there. I think I've already said enough about this in the vlog. I've now started A Brief History of Time. This is already, I'll tell you, not as well told in my opinion, but I'm like 5 minutes in, so I can't really say much about that. I don't know. I'm just not sure if anyone's ever going to beat Brian Greene. I think I mentioned that I ordered his newest book, so there's that. When am I going to get to this? Hopefully later today. Today I need to finish grading, so that's what I've been doing. And while I grade, it's tedious grading, so I can listen to the audiobook. I've accepted the fact that if I want to get through this, I might not understand everything. And honestly, that's okay. If it hooks me in, hooks me in. I may or may not extend this vlog into December. I don't want to fuck up my December TBR. We'll see what happens. But I still would like to try and get to the Janus point, because that is the arc I need to review. Like, that's a big reason why. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I'm only, it was like a 6th or 5th through this. I have a presentation tonight with a friend or a coworker, both, with a virtual like astronomy outreach event. I think I mentioned I was going to get a tree. It's my star for my tree, and I've put the lights up. Unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen this week. I got my dates wrong. There are 2 ways I could do this. I could either rent a U-Haul truck, go pick up a tree that's like half an hour away, and basically spend an extra $30 or so on that. Or I can wait until they're going to have trees at my local grocery store, which is like maybe a 15-20 minute walk. And the idea is that I would buy a tree there and I would walk it home. Honestly, I'm not sure which is worse, because renting a truck is a hassle, but having to walk home a 6-foot tree, it's going to be something. But I think I'm going to be cheap and go in that direction and let myself just wait a week. I hate it because in previous years, last year I didn't get a tree because I waited too long, and I always go home for Christmas. This year, obviously I'm going to get a tree no matter what, because I'm not going home and I want to have a tree, but I would like to have it. I know it's different for everyone, but one reason I put these lights up is because at night I love the look of the lights on the ceiling. I have this vivid memory of this feeling every year of just seeing the tree and seeing the lights at night reflecting off the walls, and it's such a visceral feeling that evokes. It's really quite depressing because I'm here by myself, but I want that, and so yeah, that's everything. I'll catch you later. My head is throbbing, and I'm pretty sure it's because of my schoolwork. Oh God, either that or I'm sick, but it's like really bad. I finished this book, Stephen Hawking's A Brief History of Time, and I'm disappointed. Probably one of my most disappointing reads of the month. But this is going to be 3 out of 5 stars. I thought about 3.5, but I think I made a really bad decision reading this one after Brian Greene's book. I should have known that this was 1, shorter, and 2, came before Brian Greene's book. So it would have made more sense to read this first, basically an abridged edition of the universe, but also sort of a dated one, and then use the more up-to-date version to sort of learn more and figure out where things have gone. But because I did it the way around, what I got here was something that felt like less complete, both in the details, but also in how much we actually knew. That in itself is almost to be expected. The really disappointing side of this is how poorly written I think it is. I do not think he did a very good job communicating the science to us in the same way that Brian Greene did. And I'm not sure I gained anything much new about this. I was hoping he would give us like a discussion, a philosophical discussion of the implications on God, because at least then it's like something unique to him that we get from this book, but it's more of just a passing thought than anything substantive in my opinion. I was also hoping for maybe a bit more details about black holes, which we do get. That's probably the most detailed thing that I learned from this book, was some facts about black holes. But even that felt sort of curtailed. So, a little disappointing. I know a lot of people don't agree with me, and my views don't seem to be shared by other people who have read this. I can't recommend it myself. I still plan on reading his other books. Hopefully, if they're not better written, they're at least more detailed. God, my head. It's really bad. I'm going to finish at least The End of Time. I don't know what the Janus Point. If I finish the Janus Point, let's be realistic, it's going to be a bit of a skim read. So tonight, what should I be doing? I think I'm just going to try to get my models running to get some results and then read. I'm going to try to get through as much of that book as I can. So I forget that we have the Octavia Butler slow read right now. It's just about to start. Hopefully I'll be able to get in this time. Last time I forgot about it. It was too late.
Experiences of Wild Seed. Inevitably, we're going to be talking about ourselves, our experiences.
Okay, it's over. That was a very pleasant experience. I didn't really talk much, but it was really great just to hear people talk about the book, talk about their experiences, and just everything about it. It was a really, really great experience. Again, that was the Octavia Butler slow read. If you don't know about it, we're just reading each of her publications one at a time, every 2 months basically, slowly over the next 2 years, and then having a Zoom meetup call about it. It's being led by Jerry from Onyx Pages, among others, but it's just such an amazing experience. It was very distressing, which was good. I've been, like I said, very stressed out. I am now still reading The Janus Point by Julian Barber. My frustration with this book combined with my shortness on time means we are now transitioning into mock audiobook mode. But obviously, it's even less information I'll be taking in, and hopefully it'll come together. If not, you know what? That's largely blamed with the author. It's not my responsibility to make this book make sense if it doesn't, okay? I need to get something from a friend, a coworker, and it's going to start snowing this week, so I have to go tonight because I didn't go earlier. So let's go on an adventure. It's beginning to look a lot like it's late now. All this work left to do. I really don't want to work, but I have to finish this shit. Oh, fuck this shit. Fuck. I did get some reading done. I don't know how I feel. Like when I was on my bike ride, I was enjoying the book. And I came back here, was doing some remedial work and tried listening to it. Was not retaining it. Like it's just so, I just really don't want to read it, and I don't know if I'm going to. I have nothing else to read besides his other book, which I'm not going to pick that up and not read this one. My Kindle says I have like 8 hours left on it, and I don't see myself finishing it tomorrow because I'm pretty sure my time to read is going to be less than normal, which would be like, normal would be like, if I'm lucky, 3 hours a day, which means I probably won't finish it. And quite frankly, I am not going to risk not having time for other books that I have planned for next month to read this book. It's really not worth it. Maybe my feelings will change. Maybe I'll read more. I don't know. This is all very disappointing considering I had very high hopes for this book. This just sucks. Sucks. What a shitty book. Hello. It is officially December. As you can see, I'm currently running some results from my research. Still working on my paper. I got absolutely no research done today. Sorry, other way around. I got no reading done today because I was so focused on research. It is what it is, right? I knew this might happen. So all there is to do really is just close out this vlog. Okay. So this vlog was very much a mixed bag. We had some good times and we had some very bad times, and we had some non-existent times where I did not vlog at all. Overall, I mean, I hope this was a fun vlog. I think I had fun. I know there was some time where I didn't have fun. Well, a lot of it's the book's fault. It's also because I've just been busy. But I would say a lot of my failures in this vlog, which I'll get to in a second, are a mix of maybe time management issues combined with problems with books, right? So I don't want to put all the blame on myself or all the blame on the book. But the month started lackluster when I tried to get through this. Like, this was a failure. And then I tried to get further. How far did I make? I think I made it to part 3. I don't know. Maybe it was this far. Maybe twice the length I was at. But I still have so much longer to go. And I haven't finished it. I started that before this vlog started. And then I picked up this one. And I loved this. This was phenomenal. Still is my favorite cosmology book. Honestly, the best and most comprehensive one that I've read. I highly recommend this book if you're interested in learning about cosmology. I think he does a really good job explaining it. Even the details that aren't always simple get clarified to a point where I think you don't have to remember the final details to get the point. So well done. And also check out the PBS documentary. I'm pretty sure you can find that on YouTube for free. And then I read A Brief History of Time by Stephen Hawking. This is technically a classic. I'm pretty sure it was published in the 80s. It did not stand up to The Fabric of the Cosmos. The writing style and the content both were lacking for me. I felt like not a lot was said compared to the other book, which granted is by definition brief, but still what was said didn't feel as effective. And as much as I was hoping to get like a unique bit of information from his expertise, I felt like that wasn't there. And then there's the book I didn't read at all, which is The Genius Point, which comes out December 2nd or 3rd, so very soon, probably by the time this video is up. I really don't know if I'll read it now because of how bad his other book is. But to be clear, I am not DNFing The End of Time. This is going to go on my stack of indefinite TBR, a series of books that I am currently reading or hoping I'll pick up in like an in-between time if I manage to have time. Oh, Lord, what a disappointment this was. Hey, luckily my disappointment there was really countered by my exceeds expectation of The Fabric of the Cosmos, which I really wasn't expecting. This has been a long month for research and for reading. I've loved most of what I've read, but I am actually looking forward to getting back to some fiction. So with that said, I think I need to close this out. It has been a very thought-provoking vlog, that's for sure. I do love time. I stand by that. Thank you so much if you stayed all the way to the end. I hope you enjoyed this. If you have stayed to the end, go ahead and give me like an hourglass in the comments. And hope you have a great day. Goodbye.